We are obviously deep into a digital world. Choosing to write with anything other than a computer is an act of rebellion against the reigning order of thumb-driven micro-virtual keyboards, emojis, predictive text, and AI listening dictation. It's at the point now that there's even a certain quaintness to using a keyboard. Selecting a fountain pen, intending to scribe on a lovely tundra white piece of textured Tomoe River paper, is a personal declaration that you see the world differently and still derive joy from the simple act of writing. Whether it's in recounting the pleasures of your daily life, writing a poem, a grocery list, or documenting the vast typography of your emotional landscape. The pen is filled, the paper awaits, the nib slowly descends, you make a mark. That simple mark is the beginning of everything. An entire world unfolds. This is the springboard from which your imagination leaps into the infinite. We imagine our primitive forebears drawing a line with a stick on the dusty floor of a cave, or dipping their finger in paint and trailing it along the textured smooth surface of rock wall. From there to the many systems of writing as varied and interesting as the potential of the human mind. It is no accident that Winston Smith wrote in a journal as a political act against the totalitarian surveillance state of Oceania in 1984 by George Orwell. Henry Jones Sr.'s entire life and work was in his Grail diary in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Writing has importance and consequence. Writing in cursive helps to settle us, to organize our thoughts, and to push the act of writing closer to craft and beauty, rather than just jotting your thoughts down. Using cursive or an orderly print handwriting elevates writing to an aesthetic pursuit. It's easy to strive for a certain symmetry, a limit to a rising line, or a plunging loop to finish a P or a Y or a J. These are the ecstatic moments of writing, enlightenment through handwriting, when idea meets paper in a flourish of ink, crafting visually stunning words in a transcendent, self-propagating loop of inspiration and execution. I'm sure all of us have achieved this from time to time as mindfulness goes into execution, and our hand seems to be driven by other forces beyond our control. Certainly, some calligraphic skill makes it easier, some flowing copperplate, Spencerian, or modern calligraphic skill handles the aesthetic side easier than my middling Palmer method. Nevertheless, the rareness of the moment makes it that much more special, and sometimes it's in the act of writing several lines, when all the vowels are pretty copies of each other, and no line seeks to outshine the rest, and when the entire paragraph looks like a coherent composition. Marrying this to an interesting idea makes it all worthwhile and brings it all together. This may be achieved with a lovely uniform print like the types the architects have, or comic book illustrators. It's when your letters rise to the realm of font that you have achieved something, and really anyone can do this, with some practice, some artistry, and some imagination. Some of the most beautiful and interesting handwritings I have ever seen were hybrids of print and cursive, projected from a creative mind, seeking the beauty in a T looped with an H, but with an E running free. Perhaps the best thing about writing by hand is that it frees you from the endless cords, chargers, and mice, that hold you at your desk during your working hours, extricating you from the spider web of cables. With a paper journal and pen, you can elude the Wi-Fi signals, sit at a cafe as Hemingway did in the 1920s, or head out into the magical places. You are free. There are no sign-ons, no passwords to solve, just you, your pen, your script. I learned to write in the 1970s, sitting at the same desk in the same school as my parents did. There was still an indentation on the upper right-hand side of the desk, a round hole, deeply stained with decades of blue and black ink. We did constant drills of loops and lines, striving for a consistent slant, uniform heights, spacing, little looping connections. I wasn't using a fountain pen then, but there were signs of them all around me. Later, I would buy a Waterman fountain pen at the BU bookshop. I would practice by doing this time, rediscovering my cursive in my 20s in journals and my work notebooks. I preferred medium nibs once I discovered that I could keep the nib parallel to the line of the paper, troweling the ink up, down, and around with thicker lines on the downstroke. I followed this through with the Waterman Filius, the Corrine, and through to my Schaefer Legacy, the Montblanc 149, and the Pilot Custom 823. It's true that any pen can draw any line, but these hold a very special connection for me when writing. The pure, ecstatic extension of a line still glistening for several seconds after the nib has laid it. Cursive is my preferred method of writing. I now only print for emphasis. I find that when I write in this manner, it is almost as if it's one continuous line across the page, save for a quick full stop, a dot atop a J or an I. Being less conscious of the act of writing often puts me in a fugue state where the idea is at the center and I am writing around it, like Prospero orchestrating his Tempest. This is the key to creative writing for me. A cursive nib is brilliant for this, like Lami's running script nib that rewards you for a light touch and for allowing the nib to run away with itself. Confident that the lines will be interesting, varied, but not so uniformly ordered between when it goes thin or fat that it stands out as any special type of nib. It simply enhances your handwriting, making it seem that it's you that is more interesting. Over the years, I've learned to enjoy writing more, to let go more, and to appreciate each part of the process of learning and developing. I feel that my handwriting has evolved and is improving as well. I don't believe it is too much to say that I've built an entire world around writing, fountain pens, journals, and self-expression. In this world of ours, there are no real rules, just guidelines, just suggestions to inspire you to write in your best form, function, and idea. I am no gatekeeper, and when it is all done, I am just interested in seeing you enjoying writing, rather than worrying about how you are writing, with what you are writing, when, or on what. I am not the pen police. If a ballpoint pen in a moleskin is your path, I may wince a little, but you will find full acceptance here. I do think that we can all agree that fountain pens afford us a very high level of the act of writing. The ability to choose the color of our inks, the width and shapes of our lines, and the general feel of the nib elevates writing to an art form. Those of us who write and enjoy writing understand. Some people write and never think of these things, and perhaps they are liberated by some of the obsessions over the innumerable variables that many of us fill our days with. Perhaps this is better, but I would miss it. I prefer it as it is, and I recognize it for what it is. A fountain pen obsession, but it's a healthy one, and it's an interesting one. It feeds me much more than it takes from me, and perhaps that's all I can ask for. So, do you write in cursive in your daily life? How did you learn cursive? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hammond Castle is a beautiful place in Gloucester, Mass. I hope you get a chance to visit it. If you could do me one more favor, please like, comment, share this video with somebody else who you think might enjoy it. It would be fun to get more people following along. I release new videos each Thursday, so we will see each other again very soon, further up the road. Take care.